In today's video, I'm going to give you 11 different red flags that you need to look for the next time you consider applying to a job online. Let's go. Now, the first red flag that I want to point out is the requirements, the must-haves, read like an alphabet. They are incredibly long. So if you're looking at a job description, right, and they've got 15, 16, 17, 20 must-haves, that is a huge red flag, and you do not want to apply to that job, and probably for two reasons. One, it might be unreasonable that anybody has all those qualifications. The second thing is they might be expecting way too much of this person. If you accept that job, you might not be setting yourself up for success. If you look at a job description and there is just a ton of requirements, a ton of must-haves, you do not want to apply to that job. Red flag. Now, the next thing that I consider to be a pretty big red flag when you're looking at a job description, it is full of what I would call warning statements. So what are warning statements? Statements like must be willing to put in time over the weekend, must be comfortable with ambiguity, must be comfortable wearing multiple hats, we are like a family, or my favorite, must have a sense of humor. This isn't a comedy club, this is a job. What does must have a sense of humor? What it probably means is that you need to have thick skin, which means they probably tolerate an environment that you probably don't want to exist within. If you read a job description and you see any or multiple of these warning statements, I would skip that, not apply, red flags. The next thing that's a big red flag that a lot of people don't pay enough attention to is if you look at the job description and they're describing what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, but the systems, the tools, they're all outdated. That is a problem. That's a red flag. Now, I understand that not all companies are going to be able to modernize their tools and systems as quickly as others. But here's the reality of that. Are you setting yourself up for success if you accept a job like that? And secondarily, now your skills become less transferable when you move to that next job. If you sign up and you spend the next 3 years using outdated systems, when you start applying for your next job, the people who are going to interview you are going to look at your resume and going, wow, these are old tools. This person isn't going to be as well versed on the systems and the tools that we're using today. You are going to be at a significant disadvantage relative to your peers who are interviewing if they're using better tools. So if you look at a job description and the tools and the systems that you're describing in that job description are outdated, you're probably gonna wanna pass. Another thing here, if they're not investing in the tools and the systems, they're probably not going to invest in you. That's a bit of a red flag in of itself, their lack of willingness to invest. Spelling errors in the job posting are a big red flag for me. Here's the reality. You're a candidate. If you apply to a job and you have spelling errors all throughout your resume, they're going to consider that to be a red flag against you, but that's a two-way street. If you read their job description and there are grammatical errors, spelling errors, that's a big red flag. They don't put a lot of care into that. They're not, super detail-oriented there. I would see that as a bad sign. Hey, if you were finding this video helpful, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you see the 3 videos I release every single week designed to help you get your dream job. Now, the next big red flag is that the job description is super brief. If you look at a job description and it takes you 30 seconds to read it because it's literally like a paragraph and a couple bullet points, that's a big red flag. They obviously didn't put a lot of care into it. There's not a lot of detail there. You probably don't have enough information to know if this is a good fit or if it's a job that you're interested in pursuing. Short job description, red flag. The next red flag that I would always look for when I'm looking at a job description is, do all the responsibilities seem like one job, or does it seem like more than one job? If you're reading the responsibilities and you're thinking to yourself, man, this seems like 2 jobs, that is a bad sign. That is a red flag. Do not apply to that job. Another big one for me is clarity. If you read a job description and you are unclear about the role, about the responsibilities, about the deliverables, that's a bad sign. So I personally, if I see a job description and I go, well, what am I even gonna be doing here? I'll tell you what I'm not gonna be doing. I'm not gonna be applying to that job, and I suggest you don't either. Another pretty big red flag for me is you look at the job description and the responsibilities, the requirements, the must-haves are out of whack with the actual level of position. So if you're talking about it's an entry-level role or like a standard role, and they're looking for like senior level experience, it's entry level, but with 4 years experience, just with how out of touch they are, that to me, that's not a good sign. It's a red flag. Don't apply to that job. Not enough job descriptions post salary, but if it does post salary and that salary is way low, like low what you would expect for the role, for the industry, for the market, That is a huge red flag to me. You might think, you know what, I'm a really good candidate. I might be able to negotiate them up. Yeah, maybe. But it's also probably going to be hard for you to get increases, raises. To me, when a company does not pay fair market value, even if you can get them to make an exception for you in that moment, it is always a red flag. So a low salary posted on job description, absolute red flag. Another big red flag for me is if the company is confidential. This is happening for one of two reasons. One, it might be a recruiter. So a recruiter might be posting it on behalf of a client. I'm always a little wary of that. I work for a third-party recruitment company and we never post jobs. We go out and find people. So when a company does post a job, I'm always a little bit wary of it if it's a recruiter posting it. But the second thing that I would consider could be happening there is maybe the company doesn't have the best reputation, so they don't want to post it out there because they're afraid they're going to scare away applicants. If that's the case, you don't want to work there. Now, the last one that I want to point out here is if they have outlandishly high salary claims. So if you go there and it says you could be making $300,000 and it's a relatively entry-level role, it's an earlier career role, and you go, wow, that's like an unbelievably high salary for this type of role, it might be a case of too good to be true. Now this video is done, but I want to show you something that's going to make a huge impact in your next interview, and it's this video right here. This video is how to get a job offer in 6 minutes. What I do here is I break down the 6 most critical minutes of every single job interview, and I teach you how to absolutely crush those 6 minutes for maximum impact. So this video is done, but you gotta go watch this one now.